un'altra rivoluzione industriale e agli sviluppi dell'intelligenza artificiale.
That was Pope Leo on just day 3 of his pontificate, speaking to the College of Cardinals. In his first official address as Pope, he identified artificial intelligence as a main challenge for humanity today, saying AI can threaten human dignity, justice, and labor. Already, Pope Leo XIV is framing the response to AI as a defining mission for his papacy and for our church today. And in the days following his election, the internet has been inundated with AI-generated deepfake videos, images, and messages attributed to him. It's all a stark reminder of the challenge that is the artificial age. Joining us from Rome now to discuss Pope Leo, AI, and the church's response is Father Michael Baggot. Father Baggot is an assistant professor of bioethics at the Pontifical Athenaeum Regina Apostolorum in Rome. He's also an invited professor at the Catholic Institute of Technology and at the Pontifical University of St. Thomas Aquinas, the Angelicum, where Pope Leo XIV is an alum. Father, welcome back. In his first official papal address, Pope Leo XIV said he chose the name Leo because he feels called to follow the same path as Leo XIII. He said, quote, Pope Leo XIII, in his historic encyclical Rerum Novarum, addressed the social question in the context of the first great industrial revolution. In our own day, the Church offers to everyone the treasury of her social teaching in response to another industrial revolution and to developments in the fields of artificial intelligence that pose new challenges for the defense of human dignity, justice, and labor. Father, can you expand on this parallel that Pope Leo is drawing here? What is the AI revolution we are facing right now that compares to the Industrial Revolution?
Well, if the first industrial revolution profoundly affected labor, especially physical labor, through new mechanized systems and factories, and disrupted family life by sending people from the fields into these factories, we see today a profound change, especially in intellectual labor. So before we saw manual labor shifted and transformed, now intellectual labor above all is being disrupted. Journalists, professors, doctors, lawyers are all wondering how much of their work and effort will be automated and perhaps even considered no longer necessary. And that's going to have great effects on their livelihood and effects on how they see the meaning and purpose of their life.
May I ask, Father, what was your reaction when you heard our new Pope addressing the challenges of AI and saying it's a goal to address it for his pontificate? You're a Catholic priest who follows AI quite closely.
Well, I was thrilled, not just because I knew I would have more work to do as a scholar in this field, but because I'm absolutely convinced with the Pope that this is one of the major challenges of our time, because we see that AI technology is affecting all aspects of life: education, healthcare, warfare, human relationships, even relationships with God and religion. So it's an all-encompassing technology that requires a comprehensive vision. And the church is better equipped than any other institution in the world to remind us who the human person is and the meaning of all of these different fields and their relationships. So the church needs to continue this leadership and guidance as an expert in humanity.
Father, there's a 36-minute video online purporting to show Pope Leo reading a statement denouncing colonialism and praising the leader of Burkina Faso. The video has garnered 1 million views and counting, but we at EWTN News have found and we have reported the video is entirely fake. But I want to take a moment and just show our viewers and listeners how realistic this video is.
To His Excellency President Ibrahim Traff, President of the sovereign nation of Burkina Faso.
Okay, that's just a little clip, but you can see why people might be duped by that. Father, how concerning is it that we're already seeing all these fake AI videos and images of Pope Leo 2 weeks into his pontificate? What kind of confusion could this sow?
Oh, it can be devastating because people who trust the Pope as a moral authority in the world will begin investing too much confidence in false, distorted messages, and it's going to break down our sense of social cohesion, our ability to dialogue. The entire democratic system depends on us being informed to make correct choices. And so if we can no longer be confident in receiving the right information, or if we are receiving mis or disinformation, then that's going to profoundly affect in a negative way the kind of decisions we make together.
As we saw earlier in the program, Vice President J.D. Vance, who is Catholic, attended Pope Leo's inaugural Mass and met with him privately. And then in an interview with the New York Times' Ross Douthat, Vance said AI was one of the topics discussed with the Pope. Here's some more of what Vance said about his concerns surrounding AI technology.
What I do really worry is, does it mean that there are millions of American teenagers who are talking to chatbots who don't have their best interests at heart? Or even if they do have their best interests at heart, they start to develop a relationship. They start to expect that a chatbot that's trying to sort of give you a dopamine rush, that compared to a chatbot, a normal human interaction is not going to be as satisfying because human beings have wants and needs, right?
Father, how concerned should we be that AI may damage our ability as humans to maintain person-to-person relationships? And do you anticipate we'll hear more about that specifically from Pope Leo?
Absolutely. We already see numerous AI companion systems that promise to millions of users the possibility of creating the ideal friend, the ideal companion, therapist, or even lover. And so you can just imagine the unhealthy bonds and connections that can be formed there, and the sort of deception or even manipulation that can take place. But this is not reserved only to these particular companies. The larger organizations are already experimenting with integrating this kind of companion model into their system. Just recently, Mark Zuckerberg announced that this could be a way of alleviating the loneliness epidemic, that many people report only having a few friends. And he thinks that new AI companions through his company and others can actually supplement this lack and this need. But I think that this is quite dangerous because it can distract us from and deter us from the very hard work of entering into these interpersonal relationships with other human beings. And people who are prone to loneliness or isolation might settle for this substitute rather than enter into these rich and often challenging, but ultimately rewarding relationships with other human beings. And we should make this our priority, create the space, create the resources, the care and the attention to people who are most in need and most vulnerable so that they have this love and support and do not see the need to seek digital alternatives.
And Father, just to clarify, does the Catholic Church condemn AI technology? We've been discussing all these challenges, but aren't there ways to leverage AI positively?
Absolutely. We would need an entire program to just outline some of the great uses. I'm heavily involved with the work of Magisterium AI that provides answers to people's questions about the faith and directs them to reliable sources, to magisterial documents and sound theological texts. There are many medical breakthroughs going on right now. I was just reading the work in the University of California, San Diego, looking at potential discoveries related to causes of Alzheimer's disease, and only through 3D modeling and visualization were they able to detect that the gene is associated in a surprising way with Alzheimer's. So these are discoveries that AI has made available and that we can harness to serve people, to give them better medical treatment, better medical care, easier access to education, more personalized systems. Really, the positive uses are innumerable, and that's our responsibility.
And that's a great reminder as well. Father Baggot, so grateful for your voice on this. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.